Hi friends, welcome to Aishusdiy. Today we will make a bracelet using Sam's Bead box subscription for the month of January. And this is the first project that I'm doing with that, with the box. And this is one strand that I opened up. Very pretty Czech glass roundel faceted purple and white marbled effect. And I also chose this oval bead, and this has a Picasso finish on the side and the center, if the camera can pick it up. And then I pulled out this antique copper toggle from my stash, and this dangles and some of these beads are from Fire Mountain and Gems. This spacer bead 6mm round brushed copper package of 30. So I pulled out some of that. Apart from this, we need crimp tubes or crimp beads, and then bead stringing wire. You can use any bead stringing wire that you have available in your stash. I'm gonna use this bead stringing wire. This is 0.45mm in thickness, and it's a 7-strand bead stringing wire, and this is what I'm gonna use. And crimp, if you need crimp covers or so, you can use crimp covers. And you can also use crimp covers on top of the crimp beads that you have. So I'm gonna grab some crimp covers for myself, because the crimp beads that I'm gonna use is this. I don't have a copper color in that, so that's that. And let's get started. So I'm just not going to cut any length off I like to work with the spool. So what I'm going to do is, this is what we have, and I'm thinking of adding a couple of beads, and I'm going to create the center first, the middle part of the bracelet first, and then I'm going to use a stopper bead, and then I'm going to work the other end off. I always like to work, some reason this is not going inside. Take a head pin and poke it. No. Okay, let's try another bead. There we go. So this focal is very pretty. I have used a similar focal from Sam's Bead box in the other from the previous months, and so I just want to use this focal for the bracelet. Obviously you can use it for the necklace as well, but I really like this. So here we go. So you can just try this out on your hands and see if you like it. I really like this a lot, so I can keep that part, and then I can add more of these beads. So the pattern that I want to follow is at least 3 beads and then a metallic bead, I guess. The hole is very small in this 6mm bead, and so it kind of gets stuck there. So we need to take into account our toggle clasp, which is quite big. So I'm going to take my ruler and measure this length. So this will make it a little bit more. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is put a bead stopper here. I need this much to crimp, and then move all the beads here, and then cut myself a wire exactly the same length as the other side. That way I have enough to work with. Now I can take this and then add a bead, then a spacer. So adding spacer beads and stuff, and seed beads in between, you can do whichever feels right to you, whichever appeals to you. You don't have to limit yourself with 3 beads and then 1 of the spacer. You can actually put a lot more spaces than I have in here. It's totally up to your preference. I really like this Czech glass bead with the copper. I find it to be very pretty. Simple but very pretty. I kept this very simple. Let me see. This is already 6 3/4, and if I add such a big clasp here, it will become 7 1/4. But you will need that much because you need to go all the way here. Maybe you can take one bead down. That way it will be nice and even. So if you take one bead down, let's just measure this. That will be 6 inches and something. So with this it should be good. So okay, one bead it is. So I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take any color crimp, because anyways I'm going to use the crimp covers to cover that, so it will match our copper, so we don't have to worry. So I just put the crimp tube inside. So as you can see, so there is 3 beads here, 3 beads here, and 2 beads here. If that bothers you, can change the proportion. So we can do 2 and then a spacer, but I'm fine with this, so I'm going ahead with this. So here we go. Take this toggle, and one more thing you need to do is this toggle has to go through here. That you need to figure that out. So if you have a spacer at the end, that would be much more easier, because this one is a big bead and the toggle has to hold, like fold here and go through here, which it will be a little bit difficult. Say for example, we are adding this here, and come back through the crimp tube and stuff, pull this. If you hold this here like this, and then it will be little bit difficult. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the pattern. Take the crimp tube off, Now I have to check the length again because I changed the pattern, and say this is 3.5, so that will make it what, 7 already. That will be big, so I need to make serious adjustments here. So I'm just going to take this off as well and add this. One is hard to put. The hole is nice and big, but when it comes through this, it doesn't go through the other end properly because the bead is very hollow. Now if you see, so 3.25, but just to make sure, we will take the spacer off and put it right here, and then do the other side as well, just to make sure everything is in the same space. Just making sure everything is size that we want it to be. So it's 6.5, so it will be little bit bigger, but let me just try it on my wrist. See this? It's almost here, but yeah, we need to reduce one bead. Now it should be good. There we go. Now I shall put the spacer back there, the bead stopper back there, and then put a crimp tube, and then the toggle, and then go through the crimp tube and the spacer bead if possible, right? Pull it all the way down. When you're happy with the loop size, go ahead and crimp your crimp tube. I'm using a tweezer nose pliers to just flat crimp it, and now add all the beads here. Okay, now take this off, add your crimp tube. I would suggest work your bracelet like this, keep it like this and work rather than like this. This will make it stiffer, so this will be right. So take your other end of the clasp and you can put it down here, add it, try to get this through. There we go. You can make use of your pliers to kind of shrink this space. Furthermore, and keep it like this, because that's how you're going to wear it, right? And you don't want it to be very tight. If you're happy with it, go ahead and crimp it. And take your wire cutters and then just snip the wire off right there. Now pretty much the bracelet is done and ready. It's simple and neat. I really like it, but I just want to add some dangles to this. So I want this to be not disturbed. So I want the dangle to be here because it's free here. So I have here a head pin and I add one of these beads. You can also use an eye pin and you can add one of these and some of these. I'm thinking to take a jump ring. If you have some jump rings that you can use, or you can make so I have a head pin right here. I added the bead to the head pin. Before I attach this one to the bracelet, I just want to open up this loop and add these cute tangles that I have in my stash. That will be very cute. I will add couple of them, so that kind of tangles right there. And yeah, 3 of them should be good enough. And then I close it nicely. Completely close it, and this will be our angle right here. Take my roundnose pliers, keep it on top, bend it. You don't have to do a wrap loop, you can do a basic loop, but I'm going to try and do a wrap loop. It is just what I prefer. So add it here. There we go. Hold on to your loop.